Hello and welcome to the first of our parents webinars, where parents of autistic children can come and ask questions to our therapists. And today, answering the questions on the theme of communicating with your child is Kendall Segan. Hi, Kendall.
Hi, thank you, Guy. So today we're going to talk about communicating with your child. And briefly, I'm going to give an overview. And usually, when we think of communication, we think of it as a spoken conversation between two people. But it's actually important to know that it's more than that. It's about our nonverbals, our facial expressions, our body, and our gestures. And we use that all the time. There are several factors that come into play when you communicate with someone who's autistic. First and foremost, we need to have the ability to recognize and meet the holistic needs of the child. Although there may be a fear of the unknown, we need to display a very gentle, calm, and patient approach with them. It's important that we let go of any expectations of their behavior and let go of any refusal to understand their behavior. And instead of that, you accept that this behavior is their form of communication. With understanding and learning more about autism, we are better able to deal with these sensitivities and gain the ability to recognize their stress and recognize their behavioral triggers that may impact your child. This provides us with the ability to respond effectively to these situations rather than maybe not understanding what's happening or being fearful of it. Additionally, if you have a child with limited speech, it's important that you use visual communication with them, such as schedule boards or nonverbal signs, such as sign language, touch, gestures. This allows for parents to have the ability to better interpret the nonverbal communication from their child. A few takeaways that I have for communication would be to speak clearly and slowly, keep your language very simple with your sentences very short, and use specific, concrete language. Make sure that you pause and you give your child time to work out what you just said and what it means. And remember, it's always important to be patient with them. Communicating effectively with a child with autism takes knowledge and it takes skill. It takes a great deal of patience. It takes a great deal of understanding, empathy, tolerance, and above all, it takes our overall commitment.
Thank you very much, Kendall. So the first parent to join us and ask a question is Hugh Hodgin. And you, I believe you have a question on sensory and emotional issues. Hugh, if you can switch on your camera and microphone now, that'd be great.
Hello, guys. So question number one really was around mainstream school and how we can support our children in that mainstream school environment with so much going on, even for the neurotypical children. What can we do to help them when they get anxiety and feel emotionally stressed in that setting?
Right. That's a very great question. I mean, ultimately, a lot of parents would like to have their child in the mainstream school, and there definitely is a lot going around and a lot happening around them in a normal environment that's even hard for a so-called neurotypical child to handle it. It's definitely important that you focus on the positives with them and you make sure that you are keeping a structure with them and you're preparing them for what could be occurring in the mainstream school. Um, I guess more specifically, if I can ask you a question, Hugh, to follow up, is there something specifically sensory related with your child that you need preparation with?
I think it's more emotion. An example would be that if a child gets, for example, a recognition in the classroom, i.e. a star or a certificate of the week, there's a whole emotional outburst on coming home. Why didn't I get that, or did I do something wrong, or so
Okay.
it's very much on an emotional level.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. That definitely is a common situation that happens. And I find that it's best to practice these situations with your children when they're not in the school setting. So perhaps if they're at home or if they're out at a park or you're somewhere with them, it's always good to practice this with them. So when it comes to the school setting, they then feel prepared for what's coming. A lot of the times, when children don't get what they want or when they notice someone else getting something really exciting, like a star or a little prize in the school, they often feel left out and confused. Why didn't I get one? And it definitely, I mean, it's a common feeling that all of us have. And definitely, it's just something to talk with them about, process it with them, talk with them about why they didn't get it, maybe how they can try again next time. And definitely, I find that if you can practice the situation outside of the school classroom, it really helps in preparation for them.
Good, good.
Okay, thank you, you. Next question is Danielle, who has a very young child being assessed, 21 months. Is that right, Danielle?
Hello. Hi. Yes, he's 21 months old and currently going through the assessment process. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you able to put the camera on? We're not able to see you.
Yes. Hi. Yes. So William is 21 months old and he's currently being assessed. And so, as I understand it, because of the brain's plasticity, this is like a key time for their development. So I haven't been given much guidance on the things that I should be doing or could be doing to help him at this key stage. So I just wanted some clarity around that, if possible.
Yeah, absolutely, Danielle. And this is a very common question. And I think it's amazing that you're coming forward to try and get this help. And first and foremost, I would say that focus on the positive, definitely with your child. A lot of the times when children go through these initial assessments, it's really easy to see how they're different from other children. Instead of seeing it as their differences, it's good to see it as what they can do, what is positive about them, what they can bring to everyone around them. It's also important that you stay consistent, you remain calm at home, you make sure to still have playtime with them. And there's also a really great article that's on the website about how the environment is so important to the treatment of your child with autism. And so if you notice that there are certain factors that overwhelm your child, make sure to remove them or try and reduce them to make sure that you give your child space and you give your child time to develop on his own or his or her own, without forcing any expectations on them, and just making sure that you're supporting them with your whole heart.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Feel free to ask any follow up if you would like to, Danielle. Okay. So thank you both for putting your questions to Kendall. Is there anything else that either of you would like to say or add, comment, or any follow-up questions before we end this first one?
Hi guys, I've just got a why question if I can.
Sure.
It's really probably more about symptoms, or it's just why is speech and language such a common symptom or part of the ASD challenge?
Yeah, that definitely is a question that I come across a lot. It's important to know that with autism, there is evidence to show that the brain structure has some differences in the frontal lobe and the prefrontal cortex, and that part of your brain controls the speech development. But what I also think is really important is that with the speech and language, every child with autism is different. And so every situation is going to depend on their intellectual abilities, their social development, and it's really going to depend particularly on the situation. I do find that a lot of the children I come across do have some speech delays, or they have social delays, or they have maybe just there's always going to be something that is a deficit, but just because that they have the speech deficit doesn't mean that they don't have those strengths in any other categories.
Okay. Great. So, find one if I can. I don't want to take up all your time, but
no, go ahead.
Just Jacob's just coming up to 7. You know, what we're seeing is again symptoms of stronger anger and despair. Is that something we can expect? We need to, you know, get a strategy around managing, and is that kind of, I know as a normal child, again, you would go through this process, but obviously it feels you know, stronger at the moment.
Absolutely. And that definitely is, in my eyes, a follow-up to that first question that you asked. And it definitely is important as he starts to grow older to develop, as you said, a strategy for how to help him handle his emotions. I definitely find that as parents, you need to gently bring the child into awareness of how they're feeling. A lot of the times they could be feeling this anger or what we see as anger, but to them, it just feels like they're getting really hot inside, or it feels a bit different and they don't know how to label it yet as anger. So it's definitely important for us to first bring awareness to them of what they are feeling. And you can do that by asking them questions, by checking in on them. It's also important to be patient with them, give them ways to calm and comfort themselves. So this could be teaching your child that when he is feeling angry or if he's feeling hot inside, to maybe have him take slow, deep breaths when he feels this way. Or sometimes people like to squeeze a ball, and they'll take a ball and they'll like to squeeze it. It's good that you practice these techniques when he's not upset, so that he learns when he does get these feelings, he knows what to do when it happens, and he knows how he can start to calm himself down. And you guys as parents can also have a strategy of how can we help Jacob better when he is feeling this way.
Thanks, Kendall. That's really helpful. Thank you.
I just to add you to that, sort of in parallel to those really valuable strategies, it might be really worth working on creating an environment at home that really supports him and builds that sort of, gives him that sort of space and the sort of sense of being understood and trusted that that you know, can help him to over time self-regulate and feel more confident. And there's a lot of articles on our website introducing those sorts of concepts, like the one on containment is a good starting point, but there's a lot of others as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Guy, because with the safe environment around them, it starts to build their confidence, and it starts to give them the room and the confidence to think, I can do this, I'm okay, and it helps them practice, definitely.
Thank you. So thank you both for joining. It's been a much smaller webinar than we envisage having in the future, and that's because it's our first one. We're getting our feet off the ground. I think this has been a really good start, and thank you both for joining. Next week, we're going to be talking about preparing for the Christmas holidays. So please feel free to join that. In the same way, just send an email to Rob as you did before. It's on the webinars page on our website if you need the address. Can I ask you before you go, how's it been for you? I mean, was it useful? Is it do you think we should carry on in the same vein, or is there anything we can change about these to make them more useful for parents? What are your thoughts?
Hugh, again, I think it's a great platform, guys. The more, when you're going through this journey, the more help you get, and the more people you can talk to, really moves it along. And so I think it's a great platform.
Wonderful, thank you.
And yes, I agree as well, because especially when you're just starting out learning about all of this, it's really great to have this resource with people that you can actually speak with, because it can be, obviously it's a lot to take in and a lot to learn and to figure out, and to have that support and community as well, and people to ask questions to is just brilliant. So thank you very much.
Great. Well, please feel free to join. Feel free to let anybody you know join as well, because we need to build up the numbers.
Yes.
To make make it something that's worthwhile posting on the site and building a library of. But it's been great to have you both. Thank you.